Hi, my name is Kaya. Miss Ruby was my grandmother, but of course we never called her Grandma. I have always heard that the inspiration for the name Miss Ruby was the character Miss Ellie on Dallas, which the Lloyds used to watch together. Miss Ellie was the strong, loving, highly respected matriarch of the family. When my older brother Clint was born, Ruby Lloyd was just too young and beautiful to be called Grandma, so Miss Ruby naturally seemed fitting. As far back as I can remember, I looked forward to spending time with Miss Ruby. And it wasn't because she took us on elaborate vacations to amusement parks or showered us with things. It was because she paid attention to me. When she asked me about my life, it seemed like she was genuinely listening to my answers. I would count down to when I got to see her again, knowing she'd make me feel like a princess. Again, not because she'd lavish us with meals out or things like that, but because she'd build me up. She'd sit down at the table with me as we ate peaches and cereal, just the two of us, and talk to me as though I were a grown-up, as though what I said mattered. She'd get into the swimming pool every time I wanted to go swimming and spend hours playing Marco Polo with me, even though it couldn't have been that pleasant for her. She essentially just played tag with me with her eyes closed for hours just because I could walk a little bit more in the pool and my wheelchair didn't matter then. She always praised my singing, even though I sing in a key of my own. She sent me the Little House on the Prairie series that, to this day, remain my favorite books of all time. She made me feel better about things that seemed to be a big deal in my life at the time. I had my first migraine when I was in 6th grade and got so nauseated that I vomited in the lunchroom at school and embarrassed myself in front of everybody. Miss Ruby countered by telling me that she had one near the same age, was similarly nauseated, and vomited in the nearest lunch pail, which happened to belong to another girl at school. With Miss Ruby, I just always felt like I had a friend. Other kids might have felt obligated to spend time with their grandparents or might not have looked forward to it so much. But Miss Ruby was my hero. She was classy, using words like shopping center instead of mall, handbag instead of purse, and always ordering iced tea as her drink of choice. She was smart, beautiful, kind, and I wanted so much to be like her and to make her proud. As I got older, she shared more with me and greatly influenced me. When I didn't quite have the courage to break off my first serious romantic relationship, I had a long talk with Miss Ruby that gave me the strength to do it because I so admired her and how long she and my grandfather had been together. When I eventually did get married, I talked my husband into a cruise for our honeymoon because she always made them seem so great. I imitated her to the point of copying her dogs. I got a Yorkie because I adored hers, and a small black poodle mix because she had had small black poodles. When she asked me if it would offend me that her dog's name was Lizzie because I have a sister in Omaha with that name, I just named the dog I eventually got Betty, since Miss Ruby has a sister with that name. She laughed and said, "Turnabout is fair play." Of course, she was always worried that her dogs might bite us upon our first arrival until they had gotten used to us, one time accidentally saying, "Put the muzzle on Kaya." Come to think of it, I'm still not quite sure that was an accident. We emailed and talked on the phone frequently over the years and visited whenever we could. We shared lighthearted talks about books, movies, and garlic lean cuisine pizzas that cleared our husbands from the room, and deeper discussions about how hard it was to have debilitating diseases that left us fatigued. Despite our challenges, she remained funny and sassy. She teased me about shopping and having tacky taste, and I teased her about her book club turning into a menu reading club as they spent more time going to lunch than reading books. As much as she loved us, her one request when we went to restaurants was to sit and be served because, dang it, she deserved it. And furthermore, why not lead with dessert? She was so sassy. When asked once why her hair looked different and what color it usually was, she responded, "The other box." But above everything, Miss Ruby was always supportive and built me up. So many people gravitate toward the most powerful, influential person in a room, or they show the most attention to whomever will benefit them. Miss Ruby wasn't like that at all. She had the most beautiful heart. She was humble, gracious to everyone, and just like my first memories of her 30 years ago, she had a heart for the least of these. She saw the overlooked. She took care of the broken. She made children feel worthy. She knew the life stories and goings-on of the service staff and introduced them all to me. She volunteered at the shelter and fostered and adopted dogs, including a crippled one. And she began loving a whole new generation of us, beginning in my daughter, Lilia, what she began in me. Spending one-on-one time with her, playing with slime and blocks and pipe cleaners, reading stories, taking her to the swimming pool, and giving her ice cream sundaes and sweet potato fries. We will all miss Miss Ruby. The Lloyd family has lost our matriarch, and I have lost a dear friend, my hero, and my inspiration. I hope that I can honor her by living a life of kindness and beauty, as she did.